Hi, I'm Chris from Flybird Installations. Today we're going to install a made-to-measure pleated fly screen door. The screen is going to be fitted to a double door using our face-fitting profile. But first, let's look at how we measure the door. Measuring a pleated fly screen door is fairly straightforward. This pleated fly screen door is going to be fitted to a standard conservatory double door using our face-fitting profile. The face-fitting profile is a simple quadrant that is 30mm wide. So ideally we'd have at least 30mm of flat door frame to fit to. Always take your measurements in millimeters. If there is less than 30mm of visible door frame, a small notch can be taken out of the sill to allow the quadrant to fit properly. The height of the door is taken from the door sill to the very top of the door frame. Again, it's important to allow at least 30mm of door frame to attach the face-fitting profile. If you have any questions about where to take your measurements, you can always give me a call or send me a photo. When your screen arrives, unpack the package carefully. There'll be the face-fitting profiles for left and right and the top guide, and the cassette. And the cassette's in two parts, the cassette and mesh, and the magnetic receiving part. Leave the blue tape on until the door's installed. The black bottom guide is self-adhesive and fitted to the door sill. The first job is to fit the right-hand face-fitting profile. Make sure the face-fitting profile is vertical and then pile it with a 2.5mm drill bit in 3 positions. Take 3 of the 2.9 by 19mm screws and fit them top, middle and bottom. Never over tighten the screws, as this will strip the thread from the UVPC frame. Always use a posi 1 bit when tightening 2.9mm screws. Next, take the top face-fitting profile and fit it horizontally, making sure that the mitre corners meet neatly. Using a 2.5mm drill, pilot hole in 2 positions and screw the 2.9 by 19mm screws to secure the top face-fitting profile. Next, we need to fit the cassette clips. These are self-adhesive, but are secured in place using the small 2.9 by 5mm screws. These are fitted top, middle and bottom on the inner face of the face-fitting profile. Next, we need to install the cassette clips. These are installed in the top guide and slide into the guide, making sure the outermost face is flush with the end of the guide. A small grub screw using a 2.5mm key secures the clip in place. One goes in each end of the guide. Cassette clips are also fitted to the bottom track. Slide them in, making sure they're flush with the outer edge of the track, and secure them in place with the small grub screw. Install the left-hand face-fitting profile using the same procedure as for the right. The top guide can now be fixed into position. Pilot drill in 2 positions using the 2.5mm drill, and then using 2 of the small 2.9 by 5mm screws secure the top guide into position. We're now ready to fit the cassette. The cassette is in two halves. The magnetic receiving profile. The magnet can be removed from this and put to one side. And the cassette, which houses the mesh and drawbar. When fitting the cassette, it's important that the strings come straight out the top of the drawbar. Slightly angle the cassette so that the peg in the top guide fits neatly into the recess on the cassette top. Lift the cassette onto the bottom guide and then over the bottom guide clip. Then fasten the 3 cassette clips, securing it in place. Make sure the strings come straight out the top of the magnetic profile. Insert the top guide peg and lift it onto the bottom track. There are 3 strings. 2 should come out of one side and 1 from the other. Lift the magnetic profile onto the bottom track and secure it in place in the same way as the cassette. There are 2 adjusters on the magnetic profile. These are attached to the ends of the cords and enable you to position the drawbar vertically. The magnet can now be refitted. It is polarized, so make sure it's fitted the right way round. The magnet can now be pressed back into position. The easiest way is to get one half in and then press the opposite side in. Make sure it's in place all the way down. There are 6 fine adjusting screws on the cassette. These slide up and down to tension the cords. The 3 top adjusters slide down to tension, and the 3 bottom adjusters slide up to tension. The cords should just be tight enough to allow deflection. Give the bottom track and top track a spray with silicone spray. Silicone spray is a dry lubricant and the best for this type of screen. The screen's now installed and ready to use. If you have any questions, give me a call. We're happy to help.